Hey, good evening to all you pro wrestling fans out there. It's JC once again here with Wax Poetic Pro Wrestling, and I'm going to do a AEW Revolution uh, recap show review. So, AEW Revolution 2024 took place last Saturday, or I should say last Sunday, excuse me, and it was obviously Sting's retirement show. They essentially sold the venue out, put over 16,000 fans into the Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina for Sting's retirement match and pay-per-view. And in short, I will say that AEW Revolution, I don't know if I would say it was the best AEW pay-per-view of all time. It might have been, but it's definitely up there. I would definitely say it might be top three, almost in anyone's book, for the Sting match, obviously. Excuse me. And it was just top to bottom a really strong show all around. It had a match of the year candidate, obviously in Will Ospreay and Konosuke Takeshita. That match really just kind of, blew people's minds, really. I mean, that's the best way I can describe that. It was simply awe-inspiring and spectacular, but we will get into that. Like I said, this was a top to bottom, a great show all around. So let's get into it, and we're going to go ahead and run through the card here and review this. So the pre-show started with the Bang Bang Scissor Gang, the Acclaimed and Bullet Club Gold, teaming up, obviously, as their supergroup, versus Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, Private Party, and Willie Mack, and, Satnam Singh as well. So, obviously the Willie Mack thing was kind of added in last minute. I believe Sanjay Dutt was supposed to be in the match, but for some reason he wasn't in the match. And of course, it was rather odd to have Willie Mack in that match, to say the very least. It was a slow moving to start, kind of picked up at the end. At the end, really the important part of this match, though, was the end of the match when Jay Lethal got on the mic and essentially proclaimed himself as the leader of Bullet Club Gold, and nobody argued with him in the ring. So essentially, I think from a storyline perspective, they are refocusing a little bit on Jay White. They don't want him to be lost in the shuffle as a main event player for the long term. So giving him this promo time, letting him say, like, hey, I'm the leader of this group. This is my deal. I'm the main eventer. I'm the star of this group. I think that was a good thing. And establishing him as the clear leader of this group so he doesn't get lost in the shuffle, obviously. It basically said that he had singles aspirations going forward, and he made a tease about big business, handling some big business in the future. So he's teasing some type of involvement in the big business pay-per-view as a single. So, which we did get a little bit of information on that later. So I will get into that later. But just to move on. Sorry, fixing my hair here. Just to move on. So the next match up was the women's tag match. Sky Blue and Julia Hart, the evil, treacherous duo, satanic duo of Sky Blue and Julia Hart, gotta love it, versus Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander, with Stokely Hathaway seconding them and also adding some very colorful commentary. He was kind of on fire in this match as far as the commentating goes. But this match, it was a good match. Decent psychology. Crowd got into it. Willow gets the pinfall on Sky Blue. I think Sky Blue and Julia Hart do have very good chemistry together, and if they do have a women's tag team title tournament in the future, maybe to crown women's tag team champions, I would feel that team would go pretty deep into that tournament. Willow and Statlander obviously would also be a formidable duo for a tag tournament. Tony Khan, get it done, man. I've been harping on this women's tag team tournament for quite a while. So I mean, actually, to be honest with you, well, I'll get into this later too. There's another point on that I'd like to make, but overall, just so you are aware, the Bang Bang Scissor Gang in that 8-man tag, I gave it 2.5 stars. In my range is how I would have rated it, and this tag match, women's tag match, I'm going to give 3.5 stars. Actually, I was actually very well entertained, so I will say that. So the first match on the main card would be Christian Cage versus Daniel Garcia for the TNT title. Really great match. Garcia really getting over. Christian really led him masterfully in this match. Christian gets the assist from Nick Wayne and the rest of the family to go over the top, get over the top, and beat Daniel Garcia and retain the title. This was a really good opener. I would actually give it 4 stars, actually. Excellent opener. Obviously, they have plans for Daniel Garcia into the future. So, but the time is not now for Daniel Garcia, but he continues to build up his reputation and experience, and getting quality name opponents under his belt at this point is very valuable. So, you know, and I think, you know, who knows what they're going to do with Christian, but it seems like, you know, that this is going to lead to some big blow-off match with Edge down the road, I would think. Maybe where Edge finally takes over full-time as the TNT champion, and, you know, as a lot of people have said, the most obvious thing would be, like, for him to continue the open challenge that he's been doing for the last couple of months anyways. But just do that with the title belt. Obviously, with title matches. So, a little bit different than what Christian's doing, playing the chicken shit heel and, you know, hiding behind, you know, ranking systems and, you know, things of that nature. So, it would definitely be a change of pace for that division. So, next match, the American Dragon Bryan Danielson versus Eddie Kingston for the Triple Crown. Just what a fantastic technical and physical match this was. I mean, you really wouldn't expect anything less from these two, really, obviously. It was super believable. It kind of really was a battle of styles, though, because Eddie Kingston prefers the All Japan Kings Road style, and obviously Daniel Bryan was in part trained by New Japan and Antonio Inoki, so he has an affinity more for the New Japan strong style. So this was strong style versus Kings Road, and it lived up to the hype. Like I said, I would actually rate this as probably the second best match on the show behind Ospreay and Tokeshita. That was just blow away. But crowd was super into this match, very emotional. Eddie gets the win. The people love him. Bryan Danielson finally shakes his hand, and you know, just to add on to this, you know, they did put out a promo yesterday or the day before or whatever, with them in the trainer's room, you know, having kind of a heart-to-heart after the match. And within that promo, I think they've solidified Bryan Danielson as not a tweener anymore, but like a straight-up babyface. I think they're he's kind of straight up babyface going the rest of this run, or at least that's the way it seems to me after that promo. Because he basically admitted he was wrong for not giving Eddie any respect all this time. He should have shook his hand. He said he should have shook his hand a long time ago. So if there's any fans out there, any people that thought that, you know, Danielson wasn't treating Eddie fairly, he saw the error of his ways. He admitted he was wrong. So I feel he's going further up the scale as far as genuine babyface energy on the television show. So that's just another interesting development. Who knows if they revisit this match somewhere down the road and maybe Bryan gets the win back and holds some type of gold here in AEW before he retires. Personally, I would like to see him win the Triple Crown sometime in the fall and go into the Continental Classic as the champion, and then lose in the Continental Classic, but make an announcement that beforehand that this is his last tournament, win or lose, whether he wins the title or he doesn't. It's his last tournament or his last few weeks as an active competitor. I think that would be really cool, actually. So, Tony Khan, if you're listening, give it some thought. But yeah, I would say it was like second best match on the show. I gave it 4 3/4 stars. You could argue it was a 5-star match, but it was just slightly below that, but still just an unbelievable match. Excuse me. So the next thing on the list here is the All-Star Scramble. 8 men out there, just kind of madness, a bunch of crazy shit going on all over the place. We had a mini meet madness with 4 of the guys who were originally supposed to be in the Meat Madness match that got canceled, that are now in the Scramble. So I guess they decided they were going to do like a mini Meat Madness match, and had a bunch of spots between these four guys. And then right after that, they had the 4 small guys in the match, and then they had a mini Meat Madness, which is all small guys. So it was, and of course the crowd was playing along, and they were chanting meat all along, mini meat or whatever they were chanting. But it was cool. Like, they did the big guys and they did the small guys, and the small guys probably for the once and only time in their entire careers will ever be referred to as meat, you know, when they're out there hitting each other. So it was kind of cool, but it was it was an entertaining match. Wasn't super spectacular or match of the year candidate or anything like that. And it was kind of predictable at the end. I think most people kind of thought that Wardlow was going to win, and he did, got the pin over Dante Martin. I would have give this match 3.5 stars. Not horrible, but not blow away either. It was kind of there and entertaining, but kind of forgettable in 5 years. Nobody will probably remember the match, but good for the time period that it was in. So next on the list here, we have Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong for the International Championship. Cassidy's injured back was the whole story in this match, and obviously Roderick Strong is the Messiah of the backbreaker, so pun intended or no pun intended, something had to break, something had to give, and it was Orange's back. But jokes aside, I think, as a lot of people have said, and I've been saying this for a while myself, is, I love Orange Cassidy, but I'm just kind of over him being international champion. I'm just kind of sick of it. I mean, they just need to go in a different direction. It's starting to feel stale with him with that title. So it was a good thing. Like I said, Undisputed Kingdom needed something in their group. They needed more gold. They needed some more legitimacy. Something to do on the show. And Roddy looks in fantastic shape. He doesn't look like he's lost a step. So it's going to be a completely different take on an international title reign than obviously Orange Cassidy was. So yeah, I welcome the change. You got to change. And it was a really good match too. So also I would give that one also 4 stars. So just a solid, great wrestling match. Good selling, good work from Roddy Strong. Kudos for both of these guys. Okay, so the next thing on the list here on the pay-per-view was FTR versus Blackpool Combat Club, Claudio Castagnoli and Jon Moxley. Just a phenomenal tag team classic, 22 minutes. Tons of near falls, cool moves. Shockingly in this one, like, BCC got just like a dominant win here. Which was kind of shocking that the win was so dominant. Dax had to like tap out, and Cash was all, they're both in like, rear naked chokes, and Dax tapped out. It was a very dominant win by BCC. The only thing that this kind of signifies to me is they must be real serious about Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli as a tag team, like, for the foreseeable future. Otherwise, it doesn't really make much sense for those two guys to go over FTR like that. I think I see another rematch here in the future, and we'll get to that as well. Some more specific information about when that could possibly be here later in this video. Like I said, I don't know if I agree with the decision as far as BCC winning, but it better be for because they're going to push them as a tag team going forward, because you don't just beat FTR just to beat FTR with 2 singles guys. It's got to be. Hopefully it means something, and I think it does actually. So, but all that aside, 4.5 stars. One of the better matches on the show. FTR always delivers, and Claudio and Mox were certainly up for the challenge to deliver a tag classic here in Greensboro. Interesting fact: Claudio and Mox were wearing Road Warriors shoulder pads coming into the Greensboro Coliseum in Mox's entrance through the crowd. Obviously, a tribute to Jim Crockett Promotions and the Road Warriors, Legion of Doom's dominance and popularity there in the Jim Crockett territory, which certainly Greensboro, North Carolina was a part of. So just a nice little tribute, nice little send up. Hopefully they don't do it again. I don't want them to keep doing it, but it was cool as a one-time thing. So kudos on that, guys. So the next match is Toni Storm and versus Deonna Purrazzo for the AEW Women's Championship. This was a good match. It was a little slow, heavy on the psychology. It wasn't a bad match whatsoever. Like, it was a good match. It was, like I said, it was just a little bit slow for my taste. Toni wins with help from Mariah May, who actually had come out and faked Deonna out a little bit at the entrance for Toni Storm, and she came out dressed as the old Toni Storm, and then of course Timeless Toni Storm came out behind her. So apparently Toni was living up to her word that she was gonna get the old Toni Storm and then some. So she got Mariah cosplaying the old Toni Storm, and of course Timeless as well. So, but Toni gets the win with the help from Mariah May. I think this is going to set up Mariah May versus Deonna here in the short term, and then I think we might get another match, at least one more match in this series, I believe, because I feel like they left it in a place where you could at very least do 2 more matches here. Mariah and Deonna, and then maybe Deonna versus Toni again. So we'll see how it plays out, but that's what I see, and I am going to give this match as well 3 1/4 stars. Like I said, good match. Not a blow-away match, but, you know, on a show this stacked, it's, you know, it's hard to be transition matches and things of that nature in this match, because the next match on the series, or in the card, was Konosuke Takeshita and Will Ospreay won. Notice I said won because I think this is going to be the first of many amazing matches that these two guys have in the future, the next, you know, 3 to 5 years. The match lived up to every expectation. It built to a crescendo with twists and turns aplenty, emotional, nail-biting moments, a 21-minute sprint. I mean, these guys went hard for 21 minutes. Ospreay wins with a Tiger Driver 91, rarely seen, very dangerous move, and then right after that, hits Takeshita with the Hidden Blade. Just so many great spots in this match, too many to count, obviously, at this point. Will Ospreay is a can't-miss, bona fide star. He is the #1 babyface in AEW going forward. I don't care what anyone says about any other wrestler. Ospreay's the guy, and this is something that I've seen echoed throughout the wrestling community, or the internet wrestling community, and journalists and podcasters. Everybody's like, he's the top guy yesterday. As soon as that match was over, Ospreay's the standard bearer, and hopefully what they do going forward all leads to the main event of Wembley, which I said even on my last video, or I should say that last video, or maybe the video before when I did the 10 wrestlers to focus on for the next 5 years in the AEW World Title picture. In addition to an MJF and a Will Ospreay match, I think Wembley this year, Swerve needs to walk in champion and wrestle Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay needs to walk out with the title in August in Wembley. So I don't see any other path. It's the most obvious path, and when you run a successful wrestling company, like when I was a kid or even recently, over the last few decades, you could see the two top people, the two top guys, or the two top women, whoever, on a collision course from a mile away. It just made sense. You'd be stupid not to book. What I'm saying is you'd be stupid not to book Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland at Wembley All In. You just would be. I'm sorry. It's an obvious choice. It's the match that's going to make the most money in the short term without blowing their load completely on like their epic mega main event match, which I think would be probably Will Ospreay and MJF, which I went at length and talked about in one of my previous videos. So those three guys obviously are, well, they're the top three on my 10 wrestler list for the next 5 years who should win the world title. So this All In and then the following All In, it should be some combination of those three guys. Has to be. But anyways, this match just lived up to all the hype. The crowd is super into Will Ospreay. He had a super entertaining media scrum after. This guy is carefree. He's loose. He's joking around. Oh yeah, and he happens to be the best pound for pound wrestler in the world and one of the most amazing athletes that's ever come through pro wrestling. So 6 stars on this. This was on the level with like Okada, Omega, and of course Ospreay and Omega last year. We're on that level. And Konosuke Takeshita, he's right there. If Will Ospreay is the best in the world, he's top 3, top 5 on anybody's list. So let's not forget about that guy. He better get a world title. He's also in my top 10 video. Is another guy that needs to win the world title once or more times in the next 5 years. So let's not forget about him either. So the title match was Samoa Joe, Swerve Strickland, as we were just talking about at length about, and Hangman Adam Page for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Obviously, it's hard to follow that match that it previously was on there, the Tokeshita and Ospreay match. But these guys did about as best as anybody could do. I mean, I didn't have a hangover from that previous match. I was fine, watching the match, and I was very entertained. Great title match. Finally, I think we got the full Adam Page heel turn here. About a 20-minute match. Joe retains after Swerve delivers a JML driver to Hangman Adam Page. And then Samoa Joe tosses Swerve and hits the Muscle Buster and also locks in the Coquina Clutch or Rear Naked Choke. And Adam Page taps out. Now, there's a lot of speculation online as far as did Adam Page tap out because he didn't want Swerve to win the title, or did he legitimately, is that part of the storyline? Which I don't know. I don't think so. I think Dave Meltzer said it best when I was listening to his review. He said, well, they didn't shoot it that way because the way the camera angles were, it wasn't being shot in a manner that makes you think that Adam Page purposely tapped out. I mean, that's some next level psychological, deep psychological booking there. If that's what they're doing there. If that's the case, they better show better camera angles or explain themselves more on Wednesday if that really was the case. But it didn't seem like it was. But Page took a lot of punishment before he tapped out. He got Swerve's finisher, he got Joe's finisher, and then he got Joe's submission finisher. So, like I said, I don't know if they're going to go in that direction, that he did it on purpose because he hates Swerve so much, but I guess we'll see. But Joe, I rightly agree with this, that he should continue his world title reign at least for another month or two. Maybe till Dynasty. Maybe that's the whole purpose of this Dynasty pay-per-view, is to maybe give Swerve that match on that pay-per-view. Or who knows, maybe they do the Wardlow match there. I don't know if I'm down with that, but they're definitely going to end up doing, I feel like Swerve and Joe got to go at it again, at least by Double or Nothing. Especially to make this whole Will Ospreay winning the title at All-In workout. I don't want Swerve's title reign to be a cup of coffee, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. So if he probably would work out better if he won it in April and then he lost it in August. At least he keeps the belt for 4 or 5 months and has somewhat of a title reign. Because later he gets it, the less time he's going to have with it. So I want the moment, but I'd also like a few months to actually experience him as the world champion. So I'm going off on a tangent here. And I would give that match 4.5 stars. Great match. Not a classic, but a very, 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 very good world title match for a pay-per-view. All you can say. And then we get to the big finale. Sting and Darby Allin defending the AEW World Tag Team Championships against the Young Bucks of Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, EVPs of AEW. And it was a tornado tag match, as all the Sting matches have been up until this point in AEW. Just a wild affair, as you would expect. Like a Memphis style, all over the arena brawl. Great work all around by all 4 guys. Sting's sons cosplayed as Sting, basically, or came out dressed as Sting at different various times in his career. The one son was dressed as the early 90s Sting with the red, white, and blue wrestling long tights and the jacket. And then the other son, who was a little taller, he was the Wolfpack Sting with the long hair and the red, one piece and the long coat, trench coat. It was cool because they got in the ring and they were like doing moves and stuff, and you know, they're big kids. Like, I don't, you know, I think they're all like, I think they're in their 30s already and stuff. Like, I don't know if they'd want to start a wrestling career this late in their lives. But, you know, they got the size, man, and obviously they caught the wrestling bug a little bit if they were wanting to dress up like Dad for the finale. And, you know, they got a little bit of a revenge on the Young Bucks for, you know, the beatdown that they suffered in character, obviously. So, yeah, and the Bucks were the unsung MVPs of this match. They bumped around. They did a lot of, you know, little subtle heel stuff to, you know, get the crowd more hating on them. One of the craziest spots of all time. Everybody's talking about it, obviously, but Darby Allin jumping off, you know, about 3/4 of the way off of a ladder that's in the ring, down through a row of chairs with a pane of real glass over the top of it. And this guy just, you know, he was supposed to be diving on Nick Jackson, and then Matt Jackson moved him out of the way, but he dove, you know, head over heels, back first, through the chairs and through the glass. And as other people have said, I mean, the glass is almost secondary, man. Those fucking chairs, man, 16 feet from in the ring through like 6 chairs or 8 chairs or whatever, and then a pane of glass. I mean, ew, God, it was just a sick bump. I mean, a lot of people were saying, oh, you know, Darby's kind of overshadowing Sting in his last match, and I don't agree with that. I think that Sting probably encouraged it and said, hey, you're going to keep going on after I'm gone, so you got to do something spectacular. You got to keep your name up, and you know, you got to keep your legend up. I'm sure Sting had no problem with that, and even encouraged it or wanted him to do it. It was something else, man. He was bleeding like a stuck pig, man. Shockingly, he only had 12 stitches, which like blew everybody's mind. Everybody was thinking, yeah, this guy's got to get at least 30, 40, 50 stitches. You know, some people were saying he's going to get hundreds of stitches. It looked that bad. I mean, but only 12 stitches, surprisingly. But yeah, he was pretty fucked up, and the Young Bucks had Sting isolated in the ring, and they were giving him all kinds of punishments. Meltzer drivers, aka Tony Khan drivers now, multiple double super kicks, multiple V triggers. He kicked out at one of the EVP triggers. They did multiple of those, and he held on until Darby finally got back into it, and the crowning moment was him Scorpion Death dropping one of the Bucks for the final time, and then Darby coming off the top rope with one of the sickest coffin drops I've ever seen, like a very, very brutal coffin drop, especially considering how the shape his back was in when he did it too. Like, he really hit the guy, hit him hard. I forget if it was Nick or Matt that took the pinfall, but he hit the guy hard. And you know, the crowd went ape shit, obviously, at that point. Emotional moment in the ring, obviously. Sting thanking everyone and thanking his family, and just an unbelievable career. And I mean, I don't know if you'll ever see the level of respect and the storiedness of a career when it ends. You know, nobody has anything bad to say about this guy. I mean, he's just beloved by everyone, and everybody all the way across the globe, wrestling fans across the globe, people who aren't even wrestling fans who know who Sting are, just, he's like a real life superhero. So it was an emotional thing. You know, Tony Khan came out, but they didn't I only had a few minutes on the show, so they had to do most of this on the post show, you know, YouTube exclusive, that kind of thing. To show most of the retirement speech. But yeah, like I said, great work by all 4 guys, and Sting and Darby went out on top, even though Sting probably didn't want to go out on top, but Tony Khan was probably like, fuck all that, you're going out on top. Which I said in my previous video, I predicted that Sting and Darby were gonna hold on to the titles. So 4.75 stars, like I said, one of the best pay-per-views in AEW history from match quality standpoint and from a memorable aspect as well. It's definitely one of the most memorable events in the history of AEW. So Tony Khan did say in the press conference, made a couple of points. First of all, as I was saying earlier, Darby actually is leaving to go climb Mount Everest on, he said in the press scrum, he said March 27th. He has a singles match at Big Business. Against who? We were talking about this earlier. Somebody who said he had business, things to handle at Big Business. And it looks like the Switchblade Jay White will be wrestling Darby Allin for the first time ever live on Dynamite at Big Business, which is a week from tomorrow. So I wonder if that's the match where they're going to write him off TV after that. I wonder if that's where it happens. Does Jay White do something to Darby Allin, possibly, which maybe causes a rift, maybe, in the Bang Bang Scissor Gang? Maybe he does something to Jay White that the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass don't like. I don't know. Or so I mean, that's just me kind of brainstorming a little bit as far as what they do there. But yeah, so they're doing that match. It's a phenomenal match for Big Business. So maybe that'll help move a few tickets there. But at Big Business, hopefully they announce some more matches this Wednesday. Well, they better. Yeah, definitely should. And a couple other things they announced too was Kyle Fletcher will be wrestling Will Ospreay. I did not mention Kyle Fletcher came out after the Will Ospreay Tokeshita match and embraced Will Ospreay, and they put up the United Empire symbol, and we found out that they were going to be wrestling each other now in the media scrum with Tony and Will Ospreay. Tony did make it clear that there's a possibility that he might not be cleared for Wednesday, and right now it's penciled in, and when they say it's penciled in, that means there is an eraser on the other side of that pencil that can erase that name out of there if necessary. So we might not get it Wednesday, but something tells me that we are going to get it because Will Ospreay seems like he's hell-bent on proving it each week, week in, week out, that he is the best in the world. So, yeah, so I think we are going to get it, but it's technically, officially, it's still up in the air. So, the other thing that he said was the tag team titles are officially vacated, and they are going to do a March Madness Tag Team Tournament, or AEW World Tag Team Title Tournament, to crown the new tag team champions. He made some comment in the media scrum about get your brackets ready or get your brackets done, or that actually made me think of something. Why not? Maybe is now the right time to do a women's tag team tournament as well for the vacant or for the first time ever AEW Women's World Tag Team Champions? Because in basketball they do a men's and a women's tournament. Why not do? This is the perfect time when you have no tag team champions to have two simultaneous tournaments going on at once. Maybe they have a women's match on each show, or two women's match on one show and one on each other one as far as tag matches go, and then fill out the rest of it with men's matches, and then obviously whatever else you're doing, as far as your other storylines, and obviously Mercedes coming in as well. She's going to have her own segment every week. I don't think she would be in a tag tournament right when she came in the door. They'd probably have her doing something completely separate. But yeah, just just brainstorming here. I think it'd be cool to do both tournaments in the month of March. It would definitely give the fans something to, in addition to all the debuts we're getting, just to have a tag team tournament going on at the exact same time, and just make it all can't miss television. So I mean, just an idea, Tony Khan, if you're listening. Hey, it's a thought. And speaking of the tag team tournament, the men's tag team tournament that's official for the month of March. Now, as I was saying before, it's very interesting because you have the two best tag teams arguably in AEW, both coming off very high profile losses. The Young Bucks lost and FTR both lost at the pay-per-view. So, but yeah, I mean, we really haven't gotten we've gotten great to classic matches between FTR and the Young Bucks, but we haven't gotten like the ultimate Young Bucks FTR match just yet. We've had some great matches, but we haven't had the ultimate match yet. So I still feel like Bucks FTR 4 is the way I would book the finals of the AEW tag team tournament. That's the way I would book it, and I would put over the Bucks through underhanded means to tie their overall series and get another AEW World Tag Team title reign with all this new heat that they have with this EVP leaning into the EVP gimmick here. Now, as far as the whole BCC, Mox and Claudio versus FTR, they also could do that in the finals with FTR winning in the finals. But it would just seem like if they're putting the Bucks in the tournament, they would have to book their way out of the Bucks making the finals. There'd have to be something happen with the Young Bucks in that tournament to not get to the finals. I mean, unless they have Bucks FTR 4 as like the semis or something like that, I guess you could do that. But it would just seem kind of anticlimactic. To me, FTR Bucks is still the match. I mean, I love the Mox Claudio team. I think it's cool. But you could just as easily do FTR Mox also in a semifinal or one of the other tournament matches and put FTR over and then get them to the finals. I even said this in my previous video when I did predictions for Revolution. I mean, I wanted the Sting Darby thing to happen. I wanted them to win, so there was a tag team title tournament because I wanted FTR and Young Bucks to be on two opposite sides of the brackets, having classic match after classic match after classic match until they finally meet for the ultimate classic. Excuse me. The ultimate classic matchup, but Young Bucks FTR 4. But hey, what do I know? Then they just kind of threw this whole BCC Claudio and Mox curveball at us, like, oh, hey, guess what? Mox and Claudio are now an official team for the foreseeable future. At least that's the way it's coming off to me. So there's a lot of different ways you can do this. Just the top of my head, I was just brainstorming tag team title or tag team tournament entrance. FTR, Young Bucks, Blackpool Combat Club, The Kingdom. They are the ROH Tag Champs, but I don't know if you would put them in there or not. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just protect them and leave them out of the tournament. I'm not sure how you would do that. But obviously, Private Party, Top Flight, Roppongi Vice. Trent and Rocky, throw them in there. You got the Acclaimed. You got the Guns. You got Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. You got 2.0. You got any combination of House of Black. I mean, you got a really good opportunity to have a phenomenal tag team title tournament here. So, yeah. So, like all in all, this was a great show. We got a lot to look forward to here. Apparently, Okada might be debuting tomorrow. Of course, we got Mercedes coming in next Wednesday at Big Business. All but confirmed, obviously. And we got we got Will Ospreay's coming in. I forgot about Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle O'Reilly came back at the end of the Orange Cassidy Roderick Strong match and had long hair and a beard. Obviously, he's been watching a lot of AJ Styles footage. Like, yeah, I looked like kind of like the lone wolf part here when I come back. So he came back, and you know, they tried to give him a United Kingdom or Undisputed Kingdom shirt, and you know, he kind of like whispered something in Roddy's ear, and he hugged him, and then he put the shirt on his shoulder, and he walked away. And then they did a promo, you know, in the back afterwards, where they tried to ask him about it, and he just kept walking. So they're adding some storyline elements to the Undisputed Kingdom. I think Kyle O'Reilly worked really hard on facials when he was off, because he was doing some very good facials in this segment after the match. Maybe that's where they add the drama in. You know, if you're trying to push this Undisputed Kingdom storyline into like bloodline territory where people are truly compelled by this, you gotta throw some deeply personal relationships and some friction in there. And obviously Roddy and Adam and Kyle have a lot of history, and they are all three complete performers who've been around the world, including WWE, and have learned the tricks of the trade. If you're going to entrust, you know, some type of an emotional interweaving storyline to three guys in that group, it's those three guys. No offense to Wardlow or Taven or Bennett, but I don't think that they have the capacity that the other three have to make us believe something like that. So I fully welcome that. You know, so Kyle O'Reilly is back. And now that I look back at my previous predictions, and I look back at 10 AEW wrestlers who should win the world title in the next 5 years, which is 2 videos ago that I did, all the names that I named on that top 10, and then all the blue chippers I listed, are all the guys that they are currently focusing on. I saw somebody post the other day randomly online. They just rattled off pretty much 8 of my top 10 guys, and these are the top 10. These are the guys that they should be focusing on, and it was all the guys on my list. So, you know, I don't care what anybody thinks of my opinions or whatever. You know, I know what I'm talking about. You know, I've been watching this shit for 40 years. I just have an intuitiveness as to, I'm not saying nobody else does either, but, you know, I've been pretty spot on here recently on the direction of this company and on the direction that they should be going. So stick with me, guys. You know, I'll give you all the right information and give you all the best analysis as I wax poetically about this great sport that we call pro wrestling. But that's it, guys. That is my AEW Revolution 2024 review and analysis. Like I said, tomorrow is Dynamite. We've got Jay White and Darby Allin. Probably the debut of Okada. And next Wednesday, we also have the Big Business show, Mercedes debuting. And, you know, whatever else that we have on the docket moving forward. Oh, yeah, Darby Allin, Jay White would be at Big Business. Tomorrow we have probably Ospreay versus Fletcher. You know, cross your fingers. But that's going to do it for me, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. The big thumbs up. Give me the big thumbs up. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell your friends. Comment down below. Tell me what you thought of Revolution. Tell me what you thought of any of the things I'm saying right now as far as my opinions on where things are going with AEW in the future. If you agree, you disagree, comment on my other videos. Talk about, you know, go on, make comments about those videos. I try to make the most intriguing content that I can possibly make as far as making the subject matter exciting and something that people actually want to talk about. So please interact with me, send me messages. JC, one word, JC Gethiker 7 on Twitter, X. Wax Poetic Pro Wrestling on Facebook. I also contribute to the Pro Wrestling World on Twitter and X. That is at _PWW on Twitter X. That's the pro wrestling world, and I post on there semi-regularly all week long. You'll see the ones that I post will say JC at the bottom. That, you know, it was obviously my contribution. And please follow my personal Twitter as well. Like I said, like, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel as well. I would appreciate it. Enjoy wrestling, guys, here this week. And whenever you talk about pro wrestling, make sure that you wax about it poetically.